So now we move to the UFC 135-pound division, currently reigned over by Cody Garbrandt. The top prospect for me, hasn't fought in the UFC yet, but Bama fans from the UK or from Europe will know this kid. Actually, the fighter kid, Tom Duquesnoy. He's 4-1. His only loss is to Makwan Amirkhani, who I also feel very highly about. Currently fighting out of the Jackson Wink camp, which I personally feel is the best all-round camp in MMA. Great cornering advice, great training, great training partners. I expect him to be ranked in the top 5 by the end of 2018. You know, he could even be the title holder by that time. We have to wait and see what happens when he debuts. But I think he's got, the KO power to rock people. He's got 4 submission victories as well, so he can, compete on the ground. But, I'm very excited about this kid. Jump on the bandwagon early, get in there before all your friends. Duquesnoy is going to be a star. Number 2, Jimmy Rivera, 20-1. He's lost his second pro fight, and then, it's a 19-fight win streak since then. He beat legend Uriah Faber, so I think that is the standout name on his CV. How far away he is from a title shot? 2, maybe 3 fights. Yeah, so I think he could definitely be a player to be reckoned with this year or next year in the title picture. I think he's good enough to worry a lot of the guys in that division. Number 3 on the list, Rob Font, 13-2. He's fought as high as lightweight and recently lost to John Lineker. But he did go the distance with a guy that has some of the heaviest hands in the lighter weight divisions. If he can carry over the power, carry the power down, let's say, to 135, I think he could be, a top competitor. He's certainly going to be strong in that division, and I think he's got pretty good skills as well. Shout outs as well. Thomas Almeida would have definitely been on the list. He's young and super talented, but he headlined the card against that current champion Cody Garbrandt. Also, Amin Zahabi, he went 7-0 quite recently in the UFC. I was impressed with him, but I also saw a lot of holes in his game, and I think some of them were very obvious ones. Also, Damian Stasiak, he's a Polish standout, very solid ground game. I think he needs time to improve on the feet, but that's my top 3 in the UFC. Now, going outside the UFC at 135 is very interesting. Number 1 on my list is Timur Valiev, 11-2, 27-year-old, very well-rounded Russian, currently fighting in World Series of Fighting. He has been around some of the best in the game, training with elite fighters like Frankie Edgar for a very long time. I think he's extremely well-rounded. If you were gonna criticize him, you'd have to say that he doesn't finish enough fights. And we've talked about why that's dangerous. You can't be in the UFC and be letting things go to decisions, because it means too much to let the judges cock things up. So you need to be aggressive, you need to win your fights. He has a big fight coming up very soon against Bekbulat Magomedov, who will appear on this list at number 3. Probably the winner of that gets in the UFC, but honestly, both guys are on the list because I think they're going to get in the UFC at some point anyway. Number 2 on the list, Soo Chul Kim, 15-5-1. Actually, the South Korean is unbeaten in his last 9. He had a bad run in 2011, 2012, losing 4 or 5. But he's recovered since then, and he should be considered a legitimate threat to anyone in the 135-pound division. He's very well rounded, and the results show that. He's got a pretty even split between TKO, submission, and decisions. So I think Mr. Kim has a very big upside and has all the potential. Again, the problem with South Koreans is they do have to go off to military service. And if they're going to be pushing guys like Doo-ho Choi and the Korean Zombie, I don't know how many Koreans they feel like they can push at once. For me, I wouldn't say it's a big issue, but they may think differently. Okay, so we talked about him a minute ago. Number 3 on the list, Bekolbat Magomedov, 17-1 with a big fight coming up against Timur Valiev. At 26, he has a lot of time to improve, before taking the step up to the UFC. He has only lost 1, but I think again, we need to talk about aggression. And I think that he really needs to start being more aggressive and imposing his game on people. If he can do that, of course he's going to end up in the UFC. And I think he could even end up as a top 10, top 15 guy. But at 26, he can improve every area of his game and, steamroll his way to number 1. Number 4 on the list, Demart the Wolf Panay, 12-0, current EFC Bantamweight champion. And I think he could do very well, actually, if he moves across to the UFC. Again, difficult to judge him based on the level of opposition he's faced. You can only beat the fighters in front of you. And this is one of the knocks when you get people coming from parts of the world where MMA isn't so prominent. People always look at them and go, oh, it's 12-0, but, who's the 12-0 against? He needs to step up to show what he's got. Number 5, Chris El Guapo Gutierrez, currently 9-2 with 1 draw. He beat a guy via split decision, and then lost the decision to the number 1 on this list, Timur Valiev. So Valiev and his competitors are, repeating on this list. But I think at 25, Gutierrez has enough time to make it to the UFC. He has enough time to evolve. He's certainly got heavy hands. But does he have enough, let's say, in the ground game to make it to the UFC and compete on UFC level? There's a big question mark for me. Number 6 on the list, Mateus Matos Mendes, 10-0 with 1 draw. He was a loser on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. Since then, he's won his last 2 fights, and he's only gone the distance once. He has 6 TKO victories and 4 submissions. And I think, the UFC should give him another shot. He trains at Team Nogueira, and I think that this guy has huge upside. When you're given a gift like that with the 3 M's, you could market him well too. Number 7 on the list, Marabek Karginov, currently 8-0. This 28-year-old has only been out of the first round once, with 3 TKO victories and 5 via submissions. He would provide a tough challenge for anyone in the division. Is he going to make the move to UFC? I don't know. I think he's probably going to need to be seen to be fighting better opposition. The fights I've seen him in, the guys he's fighting are certainly tough and game fighters. Probably not on the skill level that he would come across in the UFC. Well, not even close to the skill level he'd come across in the UFC. Number 8, Magomedov, 13-1 with a 12-fight win streak, 4 via TKO and 5 submissions. Another dangerous and durable Dagestani. You know, how many the UFC want on their roster? That's the big question, because I think they could fill up divisions just with, you know, these kind of tough Russians, you know. But again, put him in there against anybody in the division, he's going to give them a fight. That's my opinion about Magomedov. Number 9, Leandro Higo Licencia Pinto, 17-2. He is a submission specialist. He's fighting out of the Pitbull Brothers gym and currently on an 8-fight win streak. He definitely has the ability, in my opinion, to step up on short notice and win. Why he's not in the UFC or in Bellator at this stage, it seems very strange to me. I think he's going to end up in one or the other in short order. How he would adapt, you know, in the UFC, could he go so far as the title and take another title back home to Brazil? I wouldn't be surprised. Number 10 on the list, John Sexy Mexi Casaneda. Currently he's 12-2, but both of those losses are to the same guy. I don't actually think a lot of the guy that he's lost to twice. You know, we're not even going to bring up this guy's name. We'll just call him the Boogeyman, because, you know, he can't beat the Boogeyman sometimes. But with 5 TKOs and 4 submission victories, Casanez could become a big star in the UFC. Currently fighting for Combates America. He could provide that kind of penetration that the UFC might be looking for, you know, in terms of marketable assets. So I think he's an excellent fighter in the cage, don't get me wrong, but the UFC may be more attracted to the money element rather than he being a top level fighter. So that rounds out my top 10 for the 135 division. Let me know what you think. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Who did I miss out? You know, also please have a listen to the other videos, the other ranking lists, and let me know what you think. Thanks.